Lejeune here from The Chase with Jace. Another episode of The Chase with Jace. And I'm here with the LSU quarterback himself, Mr. Bluegrass Miracle.
What's up, baby? What's up, baby? Hey.
Marcus Randall.
What's up? Glad to be in the house, man. Glad to be in the place to be.
Yep, and this is actually the first time that we get to say, Marcus, that this is going to be the debut of Slinging It with Marcus. So this is the first segment we'll do.
Let's do it. Let's sling some information around. Let's sling some of this content over.
Yeah, definitely, Coach. And I know we're going to dig deep into LSU as you were at the fall scrimmage this past Saturday.
Correct.
But you're supporting the purple, with the Woodlawn Panthers. Okay. We've got to talk some Woodlawn right now.
Right.
So with the Panthers, I know there was a lot of, before the season starts, a lot of commitments going on, and this just shows the talent that y'all have on this football team. And the last time that we talked, it was the day of Ricky Collins' commitment. Correct. And he did decide. I know that pumped you up. That Ricky reconsidered and stayed at LSU.
Right.
So he chose the Tigers. And then give your thoughts on Ricky staying home, reconsidering, making that decision, going through that process. And I really commend Ricky because he did take a lot of heat from a lot of Purdue fans just like early the week before. But the way he handled himself, that's what you need to do when you're about to play in the SEC because you're going to be dealing with a lot of different factors. And the way he handled himself throughout this whole process, I commend him for doing so.
Yeah, so that's the process that he went through. And he committed. And like I said, that was before last season. And after going through the process for a whole year and, some coaching changes that took place and some other things that from multiple places at Purdue, the guy the main guy that was recruiting him there went to Ole Miss. LSU get a new coaching staff come in, so you have a lot of different changes go in, and you have a chance to reevaluate it. I think that was a great decision to open his recruiting back up and being able to sit there, get back with his family, get back with his circle, and be able to come up with what's the best decision for him for the next 4 to 5 years. And LSU seemed to be that choice, and we all happy about it, obviously. And it wasn't nothing forced. It was all organic. Coach Joe Sloan and Coach Brian Kelly did everything that they needed to do to make him feel comfortable and make him feel like that was going to be home for him for the next 4 to 5 years or the next 40 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. It's not like what the saying goes, not a 4-year decision. It's a 40-year decision.
Right,
so,
right. I come from that era. That was some of the things that Nick Saban told me when I was getting recruited to go to LSU when they were, just in that number. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the conversation that we had in talking with Brian Kelly, it seemed all so familiar right now that, that same talk, it's kind of feel like it's around that same period. They're saying we haven't been in this predicament since 2000, and it's just, ironically, that's when I came in 2000. So, this process, I've seen it and was able to give advice where it was needed, and I think Ricky made a great decision.
Well, I know you love that decision too, Coach. Following your footsteps a little bit, joining the Tigers, being a quarterback, a Baton Rouge kid, staying home, playing for the Tigers. And that's what it's all about. So I know the Tiger fans surely enjoy it. I know you certainly enjoyed the decision.
Yes, indeed.
Too.
Now I don't have to fly so far to see him play for the next few years.
Just right down the road.
Right at home. Really at home.
Yeah. And what was your advice? What did you tell Ricky? Just a moment after he made the announcement.
I just told him, welcome to the family. Welcome to the LSU purple and gold family. He don't have to change but one color now. Change the white to gold, and he ready to roll.
Okay, we're moving on to another star.
I'm going to have to mark that, man.
Yeah, that's right.
That, man.
Yeah.
Change the white to gold, ready to roll. I mean that.
I love that.
There it is.
I love that, Coach. But, Ricky's now he gets to focus on the season because he's got that out the way. He made his commitment. Now he gets to focus on the senior season and who knows, in his high school career with a state championship.
Man, that's what it's all about, really. Getting back to really what makes the most sense out of it all, basically, and that's playing and getting the commitment done early, so you can focus on the task at hand. It is your senior year now. You can have all of your bells and whistles and everything that comes along with being in your senior year, competing for district championship, state championship.
And moving on to another Star Panther for y'all, and I was there for that commitment ceremony as well. Now, unfortunately, the Tigers weren't involved as much as for Ricky's commitment, but it came down to three schools. Came down to Michigan. It came down to Tennessee. It came down to Texas for Jordan Matthews. As Jordan Matthews made his decision, and a lot of people, including myself, including you, thought maybe Texas was the favorite going in. A lot of people did.
I did. I thought Texas. They looked like they were the front runner. To me, looked like they was in the front. But again, coming from a family that been through this process, his dad been through it as a player, going to LSU. His older brother went to Louisiana Tech, now at McNeese. So they're a family that have been through this process. They understand it. I don't think they made any bad decisions in the decision that they chose. I think they evaluated it all the way through and through. And getting with Coach Mack, that was the guy that recruited them. He did a great job of making him feel like Tennessee was a place where he can go and excel both on and off the field. So with that being said, I just think that he's going to have a great career there. I think he's going to be game ready when he get there. He's a long, rangy, speedster, 10-6 guy, ball skills, techniques, savvy. High. I'm looking to see him play on Sundays one day.
And there's a good chance you'll see both those guys. A really high chance you're going to see both those guys on Sundays. And the Volunteers, that's actually a rising program now in the SEC because what Coach Heupel was doing over there, they won 7 games last year. They got exciting offense. So things are trending up. So, that's definitely a good program to commit to right now in the SEC.
Yep.
And moving forward, before we move forward, Coach, I'm sure Ricky and Jordan had this conversation right after about, okay, let's look. Hopefully, in the next 4 years, looking to schedule somewhere along the lines. LSU and Tennessee play this year.
They play this year.
Yeah, they play. Right. So there's probably a little bit of a side bet this year. There's something going on. So
there's gonna be something.
And I'm sure we'll talk to Jordan and Roshaun a little bit because they're actually going to be on the Chase with Jace as well. So you get to hear that conversation as well. So moving on, let's talk about Woodlawn. And now y'all had a scrimmage against Denham Springs. And really, Denham Springs, and I got a chance to talk to Coach Beard and talk to them about the upcoming season. And it's usual for Coach Beard, whatever he's been, it's always been that third year is when they really get going. And this is year 3 for Denham Springs, and they have a lot of talent. Like you said, one of those kids that took that picture with Kylan and Jordan and Ricky was Ray McNeely. He's a running back for him. Mm-hmm. And then just talk about the quarterbacks being so deep. They have a quarterback that's committed to Liberty.
Correct.
So this is a really good football team, and they're actually one of the favorites for their district. So, Coach, talk about that competition and how y'all stack up with Denham Springs.
I think it was a great scrimmage for both teams. Both teams got a chance to put some things on tape, go back and evaluate some things going into this week's Jamboree and getting ready for game 1. That's why we wanted to play them. We knew that they had a very stout class of 2023 guys just like us. Like you said, this is Beard's 3rd year, so he got the program up and rolling now, and it was a great contest for us. Once we got rid of the plays-by-play scrimmage format and went to more of a game quarter, man, it was nick and nack back and forth the whole game far as the defenses go, and nobody scored. So it was just a great football game, and we got a chance to, like I said, get a lot of good stuff on tape that's going to help us as we move forward throughout this, getting geared up for game 1.
Coach, what did you like from the scrimmage, and what do you think the team needs to, take forward and take away from that game as far as in order to make that next step this week against Madison Pro?
I think defense played stellar. That was one of the things that we took away from it. Defense played at a high level. That was some of the things that we've been asking about. Even when Denham Springs did, have a chance for big plays, it looked like they were going to get out of there. Our pursuit to the ball, it was on point, and we was able to, run those guys down, making them, have to line back up and keep playing plays. That's what we want to definitely be about, not giving up the big plays, especially not the touchdown, making people have to drive the ball on us. I'll just say that some of the things that we saw that we needed to work on is the continuity with the offensive line. I think we started off the day strong, but as the day went on, I think we got a little fatigued mentally and physically, and we kind of stopped communicating, and And we do got 3 new guys on that offensive line that's trying to get them there. And we know that you need 5 guys going in the same direction pretty much all the time on that offensive line. They got to be a strength. Everybody got to be going in the same direction. So we got to definitely keep working on that and showing some of those stunts. Denham started to bring a few extra stunts too as the game went on. You know, a few loops, a few D-line stunts that kind of gave us a little problems. But like I said, man, that was some stuff that we needed to see and need to have on tape, because we know that's going to be some other things that we're going to see as we keep moving through the season.
That's the best thing about having scrimmages, having jamborees, because you get to actually see those problems. It's one thing you're playing against the same guys every single day.
Right.
Now you actually get to see that against another team, another quality team like Denham Springs, and you get to say, okay, now we know what we need to work on. Now we know what we need to take the next step in doing and trying to adjust or correct. And that's what y'all did against Denham Springs. Now y'all get to see how those adjustments play forward this week. Y'all play Madison Prep, which is I actually saw them against Catholic this past week, and they got a lot of speed.
Yep, a lot of speed, a lot of size. That's what we're seeing from the tape right now. We knew, again, this is another big contest. I mean, we're gonna still leave the games 0-0, but we got another chance to see where we are, put our offense, defense, and now we get to add special teams in to see where that unit is and where we land and where we stand going into U-High week 1.
Right, and even though this is going to be an LSU segment, we're going to get an update every single week on those Panthers when we do Slinging It with Marcus.
Yeah.
And now, Coach, we're going to talk about some LSU football. I was at the fall scrimmage on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. This is actually the first time the Tigers actually practice in Tiger Stadium for the fall. Just because of the weather. We talked about the weather early on. This is the first time they got that really open window, because I believe 2 or 3 times early on they tried to play in Tiger Stadium, but because of the weather, they had to move it indoors or move it to Charlie McQuinlan practice facility. But we actually got to see them in Tiger Stadium. You and a lot of the former LSU players were there. A lot of the boosters brought their kids. So it was a good time just to see these Tigers get ready. We're 12 days away from the first game.
Right.
So it was just great to see these guys in Tiger Stadium getting ready for the season. Coach, just what are your thoughts on what you saw in Tiger Stadium this past week?
I saw some good things. I saw some teams that look like they've been working hard. They've been getting some continuity, getting geared up for that first contest against Florida State. I saw the offensive line. I saw a couple guys getting subbed in and out. So I guess they still working on getting that that group of 5 to 7 guys that's going to be there. We're going to be able to depend on to be able to keep our runners running tall and our quarterback standing tall back there up in the pocket. I saw great wide receiver play, and I've been seeing that since they've been in fall camp, whether I've seen it on highlights or in person. I mean, we got guys, Butte, Malik Neighbors, Brian,
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas. These guys are looking exceptional. I saw the tight end packages that we had in there. 2 tights where we got one that's motioning from the hip. I like that. That's going to allow us to be a real physical running game that we're going to need in the SEC. But I think those guys are athletic enough to also help us in the passing game. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, there are a couple things I took away. Now, I wasn't there as long as you were because the media for that particular practice. And I really got to give a huge kudos to Brian Kelly for what he's doing, because giving the media as much access as he's been able to give. I believe for the first time since 1999, before the year before you started playing at LSU, was the last time that the media got to see the entire practice. But Coach Kelly has allowed us to do that. So really huge kudos to Coach Kelly, the coaching staff, Michael Bonnet, the SID department over there at LSU for allowing us to give this access. And that's not easy to do when you're coming year 1 with a program,
right.
But really huge kudos for Coach Kelly and what he's been able to do for us, for the media, and get this much content.
Well, I think that says a lot for him and his coaching staff. I think he feels confident in what they're doing and where they are right now, man. A lot of times when you don't want the media in there is when you feel like it's going to be some things going on that you just don't want people to see for as where you are and where your preparation are. But like I said, I think that he's came in, he and his staff, and they're on a high page. A lot of these guys came with him, so they understood where what to expect in the practices and all those things. And I think even the other guys that he brought on came from high quality programs that understand how to practice, things that need to be done to get game ready.
Well, So far, especially the last scrimmage, I just put a practice report up, and I'm sure you've been keeping up a little bit with my practice reports and everything, Coach. But there were really 5 takeaways that I saw and what I heard because Coach Kelly, we got 30 minutes with the team and everything. What's that footage you're seeing right now? That's about or 30 minutes availability on Saturday. But talking to Coach and hearing what he had to say after the scrimmage, there are about 5 things you really saw. My 5 biggest takeaways. Number one is the defense. It seems like the defense is really coming together, and Coach Kelly actually mentioned about the defensive line, like really going to be tough this year for those guys. So the defensive line. He talked about the linebackers. That's about there are about 5 guys that they're going to rotate that they feel really good about. And then the secondary, Coach Kelly feels really good about 6 cornerbacks, including one that's from East State, and he just came out of nowhere, and he's balling out right now, and it shows the work he put in over the offseason because I believe he gained over 20 pounds to get where he's at right now.
That's what I read. That he gained a lot of pounds. I mean, he took the offseason serious. He knew what his goal was, and you very rarely see guys move up. When you start talking about college, man, you always see guys, that might start off high, Power 5, and go down. But you very, very rarely see guys move up and then have this kind of impact so early.
Yep, and he's definitely been the biggest surprise for sure when it comes to this fall camp right now at LSU. But the linebackers, the defense, you already know what to expect from the defensive line.
Correct.
But the secondary's coming together. That was one of my biggest takeaways, that the coach really feels that the starting defense and really the second group too is really starting to emerge, and we don't have the official depth chart yet, but we have a picture of what it's going to look like, and that's really good news considering we're 2 weeks away from kickoff.
Well, you want to have depth. I mean, because if you've seen, just college football, just in general, especially over the last few years, with everybody having to play tougher schedules and more conference games and things of that nature, man, you need that depth when you start talking about playing these teams week in and week out, not knowing who may get nicked up, who may be out, who may only be limited. So you got to be able to have depth when you talk about playing in the SEC, if you're talking about winning ball games.
And we actually get to hear a little bit from Coach Kelly right here about the offensive line. And another takeaway, Coach, is that they're still doing a little bit of a shuffling, like a little bit of a musical chairs right now at the offensive line. So check out.
Competitive battles at a lot of positions. I think I alluded to it the other day. I wanted to see Cam Wire out at right tackle. We moved Bradford in at guard. We moved Frazier over to left to get that flavor as well. Like some of the things that Bradford does at guard, he's big physical on double teams. So, that's still an area that, we'll continue to look at. But we like 7 or 8 guys there on the offensive line that are doing really well. Dellinger had 2 really good days snapping the ball. So you guys didn't hear me yelling and screaming at him today. So that's a really good sign. That's the offensive line. The running back, I was really
And so that was Coach Kelly talking about the offensive line, and Coach, we just mentioned, I just saw this really the other day too about Hooters. Yeah. How about the Hooters giving the big boys
their
NIL?
They got some incentives to yeah, man. You want to be in that group, man. Man. People overlook the old line a lot of times, man. But I think that's a great deal for them, and Hooters gonna get a lot of deals off of that right there.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that's how the success of the offense really goes to. It's not just the quarterback, it's the offensive line. That's how successful an offense can be. And it's those 5 guys up front. They do all the dirty work. They don't get any of the credit, but they do the dirty work, and they do what it takes. So I'm glad that Hooters stepped up and gave those big guys an incentive there.
Big shout out to Hooters, man.
And you saw the quarterbacks, and we'll talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. But this is the first time we all hinted it. We all hinted that there was going to be a 2 quarterback competition between Daniels and Nussmeier. But this is the first time we actually heard Coach Kelly say that there is a 2-man position at quarterback, and it's nothing to do with Walker Howard. Like, Walker Howard is, Coach Kelly even said, he's light years ahead of where he should be his freshman year. It's just that he's so young, and right now they got 2 more experienced guys that are more ready for the spotlight just because they are veterans. I mean, Jaden Daniels played 3 years at Arizona State, and Garrett Nussmeier, this is his second year with the team. So both those guys are a little bit more experienced than Walker, and that's the reason why.
Right.
But you get to hear Coach Kelly right now, for the first time coming from his mouth, that there will be a two-man battle for the starting quarterback position, and actually the announcement might come sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that it's Nussmeier and it's Daniels, and they just have more experience, than Walker Howard. Walker's done a great job, but I think his situation now would be an emergency situation, and can we redshirt him? Right, that's kind of where we're at right now. So it's a two-man race, and it's extremely competitive. Jalen does some really good things. Obviously his ability to get the ball out of his hands quickly. It's not just a guy that runs. He threw the ball at a 65% completion ratio last year. Pushed the ball down the field very well today. Nuss made some really good plays as well. Unblocked edge player coming at him, gets the ball out of his hands. So this is going to be. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if they both get the opportunity to play at some time this year, but we're going to have to name a starter, and that's going to happen here pretty quickly.
That's what Coach Kelly said about the quarterback situation at LSU, and it was like there was going to be a two-man battle for that starting job come September 4th against Florida State. And, Coach, you saw both quarterbacks. You obviously played at LSU at the quarterback position, had a lot of success. You're a part of a lot of quarterback battles, competitions. So this probably drew back a lot of flashbacks, seeing those guys battling right now. But what did you like from Garrett Nussmeier, and what you like from Jaden Daniels, just seeing how those two guys practice?
I think they both took control of the offense. I mean, I think that all of the guys are responding to both of them. I know it's very rarely that you have quarterbacks and that can gain the attention and the respect of all the guys on the offense. And I know sometimes that's what the coach is looking for to make that decision of who they want to be the guy. It's not always about the arm talent or the skills per se. It's about who can get the offensive role and who's going to get those guys to responding. And I know that they've been looking to find, who has a little bit more edge than the other. And I think that's why the decision has been, have been lasting so long to make, just because both those guys have been getting that going. I know Jaden came in as a transfer, but he hit the ground running. But he's played this game on this level for 3 years already. So I know that the game speed and all those things are not affecting him, and he was able to come in and do some of those things early on that we expected. And like you say, Nuss had a chance last year to jump in there and gain some experience too in a deep quarterback room that was there last year. So he had a chance to compete, and he's been competing already on this level. So either guy, I just think that either guy is going to be able to go in and get the job, if not both of the guys.
And I saw both those guys actually going against the defense. When they had, last week, we got a chance on Wednesday for the full practice and see them scrimmage. And they had both have 2 drives each. It was about 4 drives total. And both of them looked good. And actually, I took track of the stats. Garrett Nussmeier was 8 for 10, 109 yards and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And Jane Daniels was 7 for 9, 93 yards. And actually went right down the field, a touchdown drive against that defense. Mm-hmm. So that really said a lot to me, that you feel comfortable with either guy, and I think either guy can produce in his offense.
Right, and I think that's what we'll see. I think Brian Kelly's going to do a great job with either guy that's going to be in the game, and he's going to have packages and offenses ready to suit those guys and to be successful.
And he did say that he knows he's going to have to make a decision soon, because we're less than 2 weeks away. And actually, that decision may be really soon, probably as soon as you see the show. Because the last time he said about a decision being made was the number 18 jersey. And he said, we're going to make a decision very soon. Less than 2 days later, that's when B.J. Ojulari was named. So Coach Kelly, he keeps his word. So you'll probably be hearing who the quarterback will be come September 4th, taking the first team snaps. And one more soundbite from Coach, and you talked a little bit about the tight ends. I feel that's been a surprise, too, that there's actually a lot of tight ends with the 2 tight end sets that they've showed a lot. that they actually have a lot of guys there at tight end, and that was kind of a question entering the fall, but I think that's actually been answered for Coach Kelly pretty quickly. This is what Coach Kelly had to say about the tight ends, including the two Taylors, Mason Taylor and Cole Taylor.
Mason Taylor, you mentioned him at tight end, but as a true freshman, and he looked like he's very fluid, moves well. I mean, is he trending towards playing right away and contributing right away?
Yes, he's going to play right away, and I think all the adjectives that you use. I mean, he's fluid, he's smart, he understands the offense very well. Kind of the nuances of the position come to him easily, and because of that, look, he's 247 pounds too, and he moves really well. The game comes to him, quite easily. I think the bloodlines there are pretty good. So, he's gonna play a lot for us, and him and the two Taylors. Jack will give us what he can give us as well, and I feel so much better about that position now than I did, probably after the spring.
And that was Coach Kelly talking about the tight ends, and I've seen a lot of Mason Taylor, which is the son of Jason Taylor, the Hall of Fame defensive end for the Dolphins, and he looks good. Like, he looks really fluid as a route runner, and he doesn't move like he's 250 pounds, but he is 250 pounds. And Cole Taylor's made a lot of impressive plays. Jack Mashburn has made a lot of impressive plays too, and really impressed the coaches more. We know what Jack can do as a blocker, but he's actually impressed Coach Jim Brock with what he can do as a route runner. So really, that was a concern entering the fall, but I think this could be one of the team's strengths right now.
Right, and we all knew that coming in that Coach Kelly likes the tight end sets and love to use those guys, and I think that's a weapon that we definitely need to use and be able to take advantage of. And if he know how to do it and know how to use them and put them to use, then I think that's going to be great for our offense. It extends the offensive line, so now defense have to cover more gaps in there. When you start putting those tight ends, you can't play just the universal defense that everybody plays when you spread everybody out and just play that 6 in the box. Now you got to come and add people to the box, and with the motion that I'm seeing that they're able to use and change those gaps over, things like that. I think it's just going to put a bigger stress on the defense and when they got to prepare for all of that.
And really, the two biggest things right now, that's the question marks with this LSU football team that I'm worried about right now. Well, Garrett Dellinger, he's a really good offensive lineman. I mean, he's played guard, tackle. He does whatever the team needs him to do. But this is the first time he's ever played center. And he's taken the first team reps at center. And he's actually had some good practices that I've seen. And there was some practice that he struggled. But when you're going up against Mason Smith and trying to snap the ball, make the adjustments, and block a guy like Mason Smith, that's not easy to do.
That can be challenging. But when you played all of the positions as he's done, then you want that guy in the center of your offensive line, so he could be able to make sure he knows what every guy's doing. He can make the calls on the inside, and if anybody has any kind of mix up or confusion, he's right there to be able to point those guys out, being that he's played all those positions and he understands them. So I think that as the season goes, I know the snapping will be one thing and ready to block those guys will be a little different, but I mean, once he get that down, I think that he'll be fine.
Yeah, and Coach Kelly also admitted that the days of the smaller centers may be over and trying to get a bigger center because these nose guards.
Putting these big noses.
You have to put bigger guys up there, and that's another reason why they made the move for Dellinger to play center. And they have a lot of talented guys on the offensive line, and they're just trying to find what's the best five and what best five has that chemistry together. So that's what they're trying to work on right now. And one more other thing that I want to see is special teams right now. I believe they have their guy at punter, and it's a guy from Notre Dame, Jay Bramlett. He's had a couple 50-yard punts.
Okay.
But kicker right now, that's definitely a big question mark. So especially when you're replacing a guy like Kate York, who's probably the best kicker that's ever gone through LSU. That's some big shoes to fill.
Big to follow those.
Yeah, but that is going to be a competition right now that's still going to be up in the air. And really, I really like LSU, and that's going to lead into our prediction record going in. But star-wise, as far as 22 guys, I think LSU's right up there with the Alabamas, the the Georgias, the Clemsons. They're right up there as far as 22 guys,
Right.
starters. But my thing is on the development of the depth. If they continue to develop, get better, if that depth steps up, then this could be a very scary LSU team. And they really need to stay healthy over this year. If they can stay healthy, that's going to help them, and you're number one for Coach Kelly.
Yep.
So, Coach, next week we're going to talk a little bit more about Florida State, and actually Florida State gets to play this week.
See where we are.
So, see where we
Get
are.
a chance to see them and evaluate them early, and that's going to be a good deal for us. I think that's going to be a good test to see where we are. And it's going to be in the Superdome, so it's going to have that classic bowl game type feel to it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm excited about it, and that's a great one to kick it off with, Florida State.
Yeah, we got Jamborees this week. We got college football week 0 this week. So you got Nebraska and Northwestern going against each other. So college football is in the air. We'll have the start of LSU football season next week. So it's just that time of year. And since next week we'll be really talking more about Florida State and that matchup specifically, me and Marcus are actually going to have our projected win total this year for the LSU Tigers. So we'll go through the schedule and see who's right and who's wrong at the end of this. So we're definitely got to keep track of, at the end of this year, see where we each said.
Right,
so,
right.
Coach, I'm going to let you – I'll tell you what, I'll go first. Let you have the finale, Coach. So I have LSU being Florida State. Now, I think that's going to be a close game because both teams don't really know each other and what they expect. And I know Coach Kelly has experience playing against Florida State, and I think that's going to give them a little bit of an advantage because he's with a new team, and he actually knows a little bit of what Florida State has compared to last year because they have mostly the same guys. Well, Coach Kelly's with a totally different team, but I think LSU is the more talented team. And I think that I think it's going to be a close game, but I think LSU's going to get the job done there. I think LSU beats Southern. Mississippi State's always a trap game because they always put their best foot forward, and they always give the Tigers all that they can handle. I think it's going to be a home game.
Okay.
Yep. So, but I have LSU barely squeaking by to get that one. I think they start 4-0, but LSU, they have to go on the road against Auburn. Now, with Auburn, there are a lot of question marks. Their coach is on the hot seat. All this. I understand all this. But Auburn's the team every year that whenever they're projected to do bad, they do good. Whenever they're projected to do good, they do bad.
Right.
This year, at Auburn, I can see that being that game that LSU, tries to learn and tries to get better. There's going to be a setback for a new coach coming in with a new team, no matter who. Nick Saban had a setback at Alabama. They lost to ULM. I think LSU has their setback against Auburn on the road, and I think I have the LSU Tigers losing against Auburn. I think that's going to be that wake-up game. But the next week, I think they bounce back. Big-time atmosphere at home against Tennessee. And it looks like it's going to be a night game. So I got LSU being Tennessee. So LSU being Tennessee. I got LSU on the road beating Florida. I think LSU gets the best of. So far, LSU's gotten the best of Florida the last couple of years. Even LSU's down years the last 2 years.
Right.
So I got LSU being Florida. Now this is a stretch. You got against Ole Miss. I think LSU right here. I hate to say it, but they may go 0-3 during the stretch. You got Ole Miss, then you got Alabama. You got bye, then Alabama, and against Arkansas. I actually think they split either Ole Miss or Arkansas. So I think they lose to Ole Miss, but they defeat Arkansas, and they lose to Alabama. Because it's Alabama, that Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner. You got Will Anderson, the defense, who I think should have won the Heisman last year, on both sides of the ball. Probably won the number 2 in the draft coming up. So I got LSU losing to Alabama. So going 1-2 in that stretch. Then they end against UAB. LSU takes care of business against UAB. And I think LSU gets the best of Jimbo again. And they beat Texas A&M. So I got LSU. That would be, let's see. So 4-0. 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 7. Yeah, 9-3. Got LSU going 9-3 this year.
9-3. I think that's a good total. I was around that 9-3, 8-4. I couldn't tell you exactly what game they're gonna win or lose. I mean, I got some on there. I know we're gonna win for sure. But like you said, I think it's gonna be a toss up on some of them SEC games in there, especially when we go through that stretch.
Yeah.
And we have to play those games. But anything can happen. I mean, like you said, we staying healthy and it depends on if the other team's staying healthy. I mean, it's a long season when you start getting to the meat and potatoes of the schedule. And you start getting toward the end of it. It's about almost survival of the fittest.
Exactly right. I mean, it's a gauntlet every single week.
Right.
I mean, you can't take any game off. I don't care if it's the bottom of the SEC. I don't care if you're playing Vanderbilt. I mean, it's every game you have to be ready.
Right.
In this conference, and there's going to be some tough battles. And I think what's going to define LSU's season is that 3-game stretch, which is against Ole Miss, have the bye, then Bama, and then Arkansas.
Yep.
I think that 3-game stretch is going to really define what this season really tells. Because I think LSU gets off to a really good start. I really do. It's just that 3-game stretch is going to really define the season. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens.
Still got to play the game.
Still got plenty of games. This is what, August 20. Well, this is going to be August 24th when you watch this. So still. Who knows? I might be completely wrong. They may go 11-1, 10-2. They could also go 7-5, 6-6. Like, and that's the thing with LSU.
Right.
Like, it's been the highest of the highs, and we've also LSU's experienced lowest of the lows. So we'll see what variation we get. But I think the pieces are there. You got the coaching staff there with Coach Kelly and the staff, and I think that they're going to do their job to make this a consistent program year in and year out.
Yeah, definitely going to do that. He's had success all these other years. I don't see him coming here not having success over here. And with all these guys that he got, and with the recruiting classes that he got coming in, especially the 2023 class that I see that he's building, man. I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, the sky is definitely the limit, Coach. And also, I'm going to wrap up the segment, too. If you have any questions for the former LSU quarterback, Marcus Randall, please use the hashtag #AskMarcus. And every week, the deadline is going to be the same, Tuesday at 12 o'clock. You can make your deadline there for hashtag #AskMarcus, and I'll ask your question on the show and get Marcus to try to answer the question for you. I'll have my first version of hashtag #AskMarcus, but hashtag #AskMarcus for myself. What are your thoughts on Miles Brennan leaving the program?
Oh man, I hated to see it. I mean, he's been there. He's been a Warrior for 6 years, and he's been there. He done battled through a whole bunch of adversity, and I was excited to see him fighting back and coming back. Even though I know he had thought about leaving once before and transferring and coming back and battling and being part of this quarterback battle. Like I said, I hated to see it, but I do understand that, everybody's path is different, and you never know exactly what it is that, made them want to make that decision. So, I mean, I'm a respect it and stand by it. He's always going to be a LSU Tiger in my mind. I can remember, the last time he was out there before he got injured year before last, and he was, throwing for 400 yards a game. And I was excited to just see him finish the race, but best of luck to him moving forward. My heart goes out to him, prayer goes out to him, and whatever his next endeavors are. And there it is, Miles Brennan. I remember seeing Miles Brennan back before he got to LSU at the Under Armour All-American game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was out there with Chris Allen and.
That's right. That crew
play and I knew he would be good for our university and still is. I mean, everything he's done on and off the field.
Yeah, I definitely went to my spill on it last week when we had the Chase with Jace for episode 2. But basically, I just said that he is a Tiger. I mean, for him to go through, he's going through Les Miles, he's going through Ed Orgeron, he's going through Brian Kelly.
Right.
It seemed like he's been there at the quarterback since the Reagan administration, but he's been there for a while, for a long time. And that's how committed he is. I mean, in this day of age, college football, anybody could have gone somewhere else, and and he decided to stay the course. And really that shows me a lot about him, that he's willing to fight and really not run away from the competition, but embrace it. And that's exactly what he did, was embrace that competition. And for that, I really respect Miles Brennan, what he's done at LSU. And he made the most of his opportunity. He won a national championship.
Right.
He started a couple of games.
Right.
He actually got engaged to his girlfriend in Tiger Stadium. He has a couple of NIL deals, so he made the most of his opportunity.
And actually, his fiance wife works at Woodlawn.
Oh yeah, how about that? How about that?
Well,
look at there.
I just saw him there last year doing LEAP.
Okay.
Doing LEAP, man. We were
Awesome.
motivating the kids. So man, he's still in the community doing big things.
Yes, sir, Coach. One more thing before we wrap up here. Just about the game on Thursday, since the Chase with Jace is going to be the day before. So as far as the details on the Jamboree against Madison Prep, when, where, what time, what are the details for that?
We actually have 3 games going on. We have our JV, Woodlawn JV team versus Madison Prep JV team, and they'll be starting at 5:30, and then we'll have, right after that, we'll have Struma versus Helen Cox, and then we'll end with the finale, Woodlawn versus Madison Prep. I think it's going to be a big one. It's going to be big for the city. A lot of guys know each other. They've been playing ball since they've been young against each other and with each other. So, it's going to be a good, fun matchup, and it's going to be great for us to be able to see where we are as a whole, as an organization, as a football program, both sides, and see where we land on week 1.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Panthers are up to starting week 1. And Marcus, you're going to be on the face of a lot of different things going on at Gridiron Football, because you're not only going to be on my show, but you're going to be on Andy's show,
correct,
of course. And then we have the Coach's Corner coming back, so we'll have a guy, I guess, like a Woodlawn beat writer, a beat reporter, coming and covering y'all every single week and get the inside scoop. Will Harper. Yeah, Will Harper's going to come in every week, and he's going to cover the Panthers for y'all. We'll have that. So you'll keep up to date every week on how the Panthers are doing, and you want to keep up with it because they're going to play a gauntlet. We talk about gauntlet schedule.
It's
going to be exciting. I can't wait for it. Yes, Marcus, always a pleasure.
Glad to be here, baby. Yes, indeed, man. We got it. Hey, season here now.
That's right, football season.
Rolling, baby.
Jamborees, week 0 college football. Next week, week 1. So let's go. I'm really excited about it. All right, guys, this is pretty much going to be about it for the Chase with Jace. Make sure that around after Wednesday to start putting in your hashtags, Ask Marcus, and then when we get Marcus on next week, we'll have some questions for Marcus, and he will answer them for you on the show. Please like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll keep up with everything going on around LSU. We got practice highlights every day. We got our shows that we'll post on Gridiron Football's YouTube channel. Any big time commitments, we stream Jordan's commitment that's on there, so you'll get to see that. So anything that's going on with Gridiron Football, updates on the bowl game, we're still working on the kinks on that right now, but once we have the official word, we're going to bring it out to you. So Marcus, I can't wait to have this segment each and every week. We can talk about LSU football. We'll keep up with it.
We'll see how it rolls.
Yeah, we'll see how the Tigers do in year number 1. Marcus, always a pleasure.
Yep.
Until then, this has been Slinging It with Marcus on the Chase with Jace. everybody. This is the Chase with Jace, and I am your host, Jace Lejeune, here today for this week's show. We have a lot for you. It's going to be a Woodlawn theme type of show today because not only will we have our annual segment with Marcus Randall talking about the Panthers and the Tigers, but we also have Roshaun Matthews and his son, Jordan Matthews, who just committed to the Tennessee Volunteers. Roshaun, always a pleasure. It's been a minute since we had this conversation. We talked, but Roshaun, good to be on here today.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
anytime, Roshaun. And wow, just what a busy week it's been, just for y'all, the family, and it was incredible. When I covered it for y'all, went inside, and I believe the gym was just packed. It was packed with people, and like the whole community was there in the gym at the same time. So going through this process, everybody had their eyes on Jordan, see what school he would decide. But going into that morning, just what was it like just going through Jordan and seeing what his thought process was in leading up to that decision? And how surprised were you when he told you that Tennessee was going to be the team?
Well, I think the important thing for me to help him was to help him through the process because it was so many different schools, man. And we were extremely blessed, to have that opportunity. And, he'll tell you himself, being flooded with a lot of text messages and phone calls from D coordinators to head coaches to recruiting coordinators, some of the teammates and guys on the team, all that was a phenomenal thing. But obviously, man, it was his idea actually to do it at the school in front of the student body. And that was his true final three that he came down to. And we just had to figure out what was important to him. Once, my wife and I figured out what was important to him, then we tried to help him break it down. But, it really was harder than what it sounded because it really came down to Texas and Tennessee at the end. But, man, I just think that because of the goals that he had set for himself was really what made him lean to where it was going to be Tennessee over Texas. It did come to, I say probably a few days to a week before. My wife and I we was like, man, sleep on it. Make sure, But the good thing about it was we were able to have the visits. And in visiting each of the schools, we really got a chance to see how he felt around them and how they were going to include him, what was their plan for him, and it all came together that way.
Yeah, it was very incredible that day, and everybody, like, I can feel the whole student body coming upon me, like as soon as the briefcase was about to get opened.
Yes.
And speaking of the briefcase, we have to go into it because it was actually our boss, Andy Bryson, and you talked at the Woodlawn Media Days that he told me, we're going to have a little bit of a briefcase for this ceremony to give it to you, and y'all were talking about it, and I'm like, okay, like I'm curious to see how this goes, and turns out I believe it was a police officer or somebody coming in with the briefcase,
right? And
that was just unbelievable. And then when Jordan opened the briefcase,
right,
the light shines bright, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is be honest with you, pretty dope. To be honest with you, just to see that, and it was just a great day to be at Woodlawn and just to be around the players, see his teammates react to it. That was pretty awesome as well. Correct. And just have this whole process. And let's talk about just really comparing the processes because it's different now. Correct. With social media and everything added to it compared to when you played. Right. So really describe the recruiting process was really different for yourself. Right. And then for Josh and Jordan. And those are really three different football journeys there.
Yes, definitely. All totally different. Man, for me, myself, back in the 90s, the mid-90s, it wasn't as much of a big deal to get offers. Like, you really hear about it nowadays, this person got an offer from this school or offer. Obviously, the biggest difference is there was no social media back, in the mid-90s when I came out. But you knew that if a school kept coming by your high school, if they kept inquiring about you, then obviously your head coach and stuff, the staff, they would let you know, hey, look, this school has offered you, this school really wants to recruit you. So for me, myself, I coming out of Christian Life really wasn't known for sports at the time, even though we had all sports programs and it being a single A high school. So I actually myself had all of the in-state schools. There were a few out-of-state schools like Southern Miss out in Hattiesburg, Mississippi State, Baylor University. But it was kind of everything was trending in the favor of LSU at that time. So comparing that to Joshua was class of 2017 at the Dunham School. Once again, Dunham, another small school, not known for putting out very many athletes, even though they've put out a few over the years. Joshua didn't have any offers. So with Josh, his experience was totally different because he did camp. But Josh was a bit of a late bloomer because he was all basketball mainly, primarily, coming up middle school and high school. But he did have some people that looked at him pretty good from like Northwestern, Southern Miss offered him preferred walk-on. I also remember with Louisiana Tech, he initially took Louisiana Tech preferred walk-on offer. So then 6 years later to now class of 23 with Jordan, totally different experience once again. Jordan got his first offer in the 10th grade, from an SEC school, from Mississippi State. Then Virginia hopped on. Several other Power 5 and big-name schools popped on. And now with the emergence of social media, once his name got out there, and obviously everybody's getting to see it, and then obviously with a lot of other schools jumping on, he was able to do that a little bit, make his choice a little bit earlier going into his senior year. So
it does help when you went through this process. His older brother went through this process. He can go to anybody, really, in the family. I mean, and just really the coaching staff, too. You can go to Coach Randall. Coach Randall's been through this process. So there's a lot of people you can go to that say, hey, I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what it's like. So it's just great that each of those guys have their own journey. And just really talking about yourself, I know you went to LSU.
Correct.
And that was really the period of time, I believe Coach DiNardo was coming in.
Correct.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to really bring the magic back at LSU. And that was like his whole thing when he first got there. So really just the first building blocks at LSU, you're a part of that early on. And I know that you're a part of that Florida game in 1997, right?
Correct.
So being part of those building blocks at LSU, what was that like? And just see what LSU is now.
Right. So, many people, when you think about LSU football team today and the success of it, the recent success over the past couple of decades, many people in their minds, they go back to Coach Saban. And it's primarily because Coach Saban actually took them to the promised land. They won a national championship in 2003. But actually those building blocks started with the emergence and the hiring of Jerry DiNardo. Jerry DiNardo came in 1995. So I was formally recruited by the coach before DiNardo, which was Curly Hallman.
Sure.
Curly Hallman was let go after the 94 season. DiNardo came in and took over, like you mentioned, to bring back the magic thing. And you had certain people that was part of his first signing class, like myself, Booger McFarland, Kevin Falk, Herb Tyler, Rondell Milley, Ty McClure, Arnold Miller. I mean, it was a lot of big-name guys that went on and had successful careers. So that was kind of that building block of it, like you said, him bringing back a lot of discipline, keeping players in state, because before that, a lot of your players were leaving the state, especially from the New Orleans area. They were leaving. You had players like Warwick Dunn had left to go to Florida State. And so that was kind of the emergence of keeping players in state. But obviously with after Coach DiNardo, then when Nick Saban came in, that kind of finished it.
Went to a different level.
Correct. To the level we know of as today.
Yep, and you're a part, like I mentioned before, the Florida game. I believe it was like the early signs of LSU really being back was that game, showing that you can compete with Steve Spurrier, you can defeat the number one team. What are your thoughts on that game and being a part of that? I mean, everybody, I hear stories about that game, just what it was like just be a part of that, and really that jump-started a lot of things at LSU.
It definitely did. I mean, just playing in the SEC itself, Jace, you're playing in several big games. I mean, every stadium that I can remember playing in, obviously in Tiger Stadium, you get those conference games, it's big games. But most importantly, when you look at Jerry DiNardo's tenure from 95 to 99 and 2000, that single game right there, man, in 1997, They were actually Florida Gators were the national champions from '96, and that was a very huge game. We knew from the season before, from the '96 season, even though we went to the Swamp and lost rather handedly, we knew we could hang with those guys. We knew we had the talent to stay on the field with them, and we knew we had the system put in place to beat them, and it all came together, man, in '97.
It really did, and it's a similar thing now because it looked like for a while Tennessee was a powerhouse. I mean, definitely in the late '90s and early 2000s, and now what Coach Heupel was trying to bring to Tennessee is a similar situation because he's trying to bring the magic back to the Volunteers, and they're coming off a great season last year. So in a way, your son Jordan can really relate to that experience, trying to be a part of something special and bring some magic back to a program that did achieve a lot of success before.
Yes, and we had a very, very good visit. Coach Heupel really has a plan put in place. Coach Banks, the D coordinator, Coach Martinez, the defensive backs coach, and you could really see where Jordan is part of that plan. And the crazy thing about it is, my 4 years at LSU, one of the SEC places that I never got a chance to play in was Rocky Top. So I always wondered. And back in the mid-'90s, man, Tiger Stadium, I think we maxed out at about 80 to 83,000 or something at that time before it got to where it is now. But Rocky Top was always like 102, 104, 105,000.
Right.
So we knew it was one of the biggest stadiums in the nation, along with the Big House in Michigan. So I've always wanted to see it. We got a chance to see it on the visit, but we're going to get a chance to go to a couple home games this year. So we're looking forward to that.
That's right. And then you had a good career at LSU. You did get a lot of playing time. Yep. And then you graduated at LSU. Right?
Graduated in 4 years, yes, sir.
Yep. And you had another year of eligibility.
Correct.
And I know you were trying to find a couple of different options for you. And then who else but the legendary coach Pete Richardson to give you a call. And that should convince you, okay, when did I sign up, when did I play for y'all? Yep. So talk about that year playing at Southern.
So I actually can say without a shadow of a doubt, Jace, when I look at all my years that I've been blessed to play football, from as a little kid to middle school, all the way up to different levels in the professional, through college and everything, if I had to pick the one single year where I had the absolute most fun, I would say it was 1999 at Southern University. Coach Pete Richardson, obviously, words cannot begin to express how much of a legendary coach and figure that he is on the campus and in HBCUs. He gave me an opportunity. I was ready to most well take full advantage of it. They welcomed me with open arms, man. And I think because of the learning curve, the learning things that I've done and experienced at LSU, it made it to be a very pleasurable experience. And fun fact, man, 1999 was my 5th year of eligibility. That was the only year I played over there. 1999 was the last year of the it was the first year of the very first SWAC championship game.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was the very first year of the SWAC championship game, and it was the last year of the Heritage Bowl. Okay. So we got a chance to play in both those, obviously along with the Bayou Classic and some other classics we had that year. So it was, without a doubt, man, it holds real close to my heart.
I heard the Bayou Classic is different, and that's something I want to experience before before I'm off this earth. Well, it's a long time away from now, but just talk about the experience of playing in that game, and it is a little bit more special. Like, it's, not only the football team, there's 2 different competitions on it during that game. It's the actual football game, and it's actually the halftime show.
That's right.
So how special is that, just being a part of that experience, playing in that game? And Gramblin's another legendary program.
Definitely. So the biggest thing about it, man, is obviously it's people from all over that come to the great state of Louisiana to see the Bayou Classic. But, man, now it's your interstate rival, okay? And just like you said, man, it's competition on the field of not just football, but obviously with the bands. And then it's obviously was something big for me, because if you grew up playing ball in the state of Louisiana, especially football, one day you want to play inside that Superdome. I don't care, no matter what. You want to play inside the place where the New Orleans Saints play. And then by us being at home, all the hometown, my family, and everybody could come and see us play. And then we won it, by the way. So that made it even more special for me, man.
Definitely. And speaking of the Dome and playing where the Saints play, let's talk about your professional journey, because you experienced a lot of different leagues. I experienced the NFL. I believe you experienced the NFL Europe.
Correct.
Arena football.
A little bit of
arena football. So what was just those experiences like? Just hopping with a couple of different teams and just the experience of playing with this team and going to this city, and just what was your experience as a professional football player?
I enjoyed it. Made a lot of great relationships, another chance to grow and learn a lot of different things, a lot of chance to see the world. I was able to have 2 different tours in NFL Europe, 2001 with Amsterdam Admirals, 2003 with Berlin Thunder. I was actually on practice squad in New Orleans for a little while. In a couple of different camps, man. The first camp I went to was in New England with the Patriots in 2000. Was in camp with Baltimore Ravens in 2001 for a good period of time with them. And also got a chance to be on with Chicago Bears. I was with the Bears for about a year and a half. Was on injured reserve for most of that time, but also got a chance to kind of like in the latter years, man, in my late 20s, played a little bit of arena football in New Orleans with the Voodoo. And then tried my hand a little bit in the CFL as well too, in the Canadian Football League as well too for a little while.
Yeah, and to I guess like the difference really playing in each league, was it really different, or was it really a similar situation as far as like the business side of it as far as football goes?
Very similar, very similar. I mean, obviously, the big dog on the block is the NFL. The NFL trumps all. And obviously, it's where you obviously, your most earning potential, and that's where if you have aspirations to go professional, that's where you wanna go first, or you want to end up making. But it's football was still football. CFL had a couple different rules. Arena league, you still find your place in it. A lot faster pace, smaller field, but man, anytime you can strap up that helmet and you're blessed to play this game, it doesn't last for long, so you want to take advantage of it while you can. And each league on each level, all of it was an enjoyable time.
And the last thing about just your football journey, anything that you go back and said, maybe I would have changed this or done something different, or just looking back, because now since you're done with your football career, you get a chance to really look back and take everything in.
That's
so
right. That's
anything
right.
you have gone back and said, maybe if I had another shot at it, I would change this or that, or really would you approach everything the same?
Well, I think obviously it's something to learn from each experience that we have in life. I believe looking back on my personal experience of what I experienced playing this game, and I tell this to a lot of the young kids out there today, I tell them, I say, man, my parents didn't go to college. So the big talk in my household coming up as a kid was, hey, get your degree, go to college. I did do that. I did get a degree. I did go to college, and I experienced it for what it was worth. But I kind of think, looking back on me personally, Jace, I put all my eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. I mentally was more or less like, man, look, when I get to the pros, when I play professional football, I still knew that education was important, but that's why I kind of stressed to my wife and I, our 3 kids, and to all the kids at Woodlawn that we coach and everything, we tell them, hey, man, look, you can be more than just a football player. You can be a successful business person. You can be someone who does positive things in the community to give back. You can do, it's so many things where you don't have to just put all your eggs in one basket. And so that's how, if I, looking back on it, I wish I could have spread my wings up a little bit even more to do different things.
Yep, and now you get to see your sons have that experience.
Cool.
And let's talk a little bit about Joshua, because just really perseverance. Because like you said, he wasn't the highest recruited guy or anything. Again, Division I offers left and right, but he just worked, and I mean, it really showed just over his career, and starting at Louisiana Tech, and becoming a walk-on, and then going to McNeese. And I thought that was really incredible that his quarterback, Cody Orgeron, had that crazy story of how he was really a walk-on. He was the 7th quarterback on the depth chart, and now Joshua coming in, and him having that type of career coming from Louisiana Tech, and they really clicked as he was the leading receiver the last couple of years for the Cowboys. So I just find that very interesting how everything worked together.
Yes, sir. Man, Jason, my wife and I, our family and stuff, everybody that knows Josh, we're extremely, extremely proud of him. He grew up his entire childhood really playing basketball primarily, and got to high school, and like I mentioned earlier, going to a smaller school, the Dunham School here in town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at your smaller schools, you're not only going to play both ways in football, but you're going to play more than one sport as well. So he his sophomore year, man, had somewhat of a breakout year. And then he kind of figured to himself, Dad, you know, I want to kind of take this football thing serious, you know, and you know, to his credit, he stuck with it. I tried to talk him out of it, you know, so, but he's a bit of a late bloomer, but he made his mind up. He knew he wanted to play wide receiver, and he said, whatever I have to go through, I'm going to go through what I have to go through. And there in itself is a lesson for all of us to learn, because each person has their own different path in which to take. And Michael Clayton is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
He went to Christian Life
little
bit after I did. Michael Clayton took and mentored Josh a little bit and kind of told him that. Said, hey, man, your path is your path. Don't look at anybody else. What God has for you, he has for you. Your job is to do the best to your ability to give him glory and go through it and just keep on excelling. Well, lo and behold, he preferred walk on at Louisiana Tech, redshirted, did 2 more years there. He started on special teams, 2 different special teams. He was second team wide receiver at the X, the Z. He knew the Y. He could play inside, outside. He actually, after high school, he grew about 2.5 inches in height, which doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't.
Put on about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. Hit the portal, transferred to McNeese, and everything came together for him. We're extremely proud of him. He graduated this past December with a business degree, and he's now getting his MBA right now at McNeese State and having his senior season. So we definitely pull him for him. He's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, you see, there's a picture right here that actually did an article going back when I was with Louisiana Football Magazine. Did an article on you and Joshua, and right here in this picture, I believe that was your jersey from the All-Star game when you played back at Christian Life.
Yeah,
and
man.
I believe the Red Stick Bowl was there then, and it's just crazy looking at the picture now how much bigger Josh has really gotten since that point.
Definitely.
So it's just really funny just to reflect back and just see that. And it's just incredible to see him have the career he's having as one of the best receivers in the Southland Conference. And I actually got to call one of his games and announce him making a couple of catches. So that was pretty cool seeing that when I was announcing a lot of Southeastern football games.
Nice.
And now you tell me a little bit about what he's going into, because he seemed like he has a plan. He's always been that type of kid that has a plan and knows what he wants to do. And he got his degree, and just talk about what he's doing right now and what he wants to do off the field.
So his number one aspiration is to obviously get drafted and continue having a successful football career. He also wants to go into computer information systems. He wants to be like somewhat of like on the business side of a computer analyst and do like in cyber engineering, cyber technology things. His dream job outside of football is and it's amazing. He knows this stuff. I don't even know how he find this stuff out, but he said, Dad, I want to do computer cyber engineering for the FBI one day. So I said, hey, man, just keep on going, keep on keeping on, and he's doing a phenomenal job of it. And he's headed in the right direction, so we're definitely proud of him.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome to see him do great things really on the field and off the field, and that's what you're inspired as parents as well. And y'all definitely raised yourselves with a great kid. A lot of great kids too, because with Jordan and Lauren, just really class acts. So y'all have to be really proud of those kids.
Yes.
And really just talking about Jordan. Now, Jordan's going to like this because we get to talk about Jordan right here. And now, when I saw the commitment video after he committed to Tennessee, it showed a lot of his highlights back when he was about knee-high,
Right.
So seeing that and seeing that journey at such an early age, what was the moment that you realized that there's something a little extra about Jordan as far as what he can do there's something special about him? What age did you really see him athletically say, hey, this kid's gonna be something special?
Right. Well, the crazy thing about it is him having his older brother. A lot of people don't know this, but they're 6 years apart. That's a huge gap for adolescents. And Jordan would always try to mimic Josh, anything he did. He wanted to be a wide receiver when Josh was a wide receiver. He would try to, if he saw Josh catching the ball or shooting basketball, he would do it. And so, only difference is Joshua really didn't like track and field. He didn't like to run. Now, he would run on a basketball court, but he wouldn't run on the track. All right? Well, Jordan loved track. And so, we put him, he started football at the age of 7, but we put him in track at the age of 8. Well, he qualified for the Junior Olympics as an 8-year-old in the 100, 200, and 400 meters. He did it again as a 9-year-old. But as a 10-year-old, in his 3rd year of running track, and this is USATF and AAU, so he's racing and competing nationally against kids all over the country, from the West Coast, East Coast, the North, the South, all over the region. And he actually finished USATF. He finished at the Junior Olympics as a 10-year-old. He finished the number 4 kid in the nation.
Wow.
In the 100, the number 2 in the 200, fastest kid in the nation.
Okay.
And he competed in the AAU as well, where he I think he finished ranked, I think it was 11th in the 400 in AAU, and then he competed in the 200 again at their Junior Olympics and finished like I think 5th or 6th in the nation.
Yep.
So just seeing, track, the skills you get from track, comparing they easily cross over to football.
Translates, right.
Oh man, so in football everything took off. So about the age of 10 we knew okay, this might be something we're gonna be watching for a while here.
Yeah. And that's what not a lot of people realize about Jordan is that track, I mean, he's one of the best in the country as far as running track. And a lot of people talk about him as a defensive back and being a 4-star and everything, but track, I mean, he's also one of the best in the country there too. So, and that really does help translate that part of the game.
Definitely.
And a special part is that you actually get to be around them every day because you're on the coaching staff at Woodlawn.
Right.
So you get to see Jordan every day. You get to coach him up every day. So that's a little bit of a special part about it. So what is that like, just being around your son, coaching him, and just being a part of his senior season?
Well, actually, his whole childhood. So for those of us, Jace, that came up playing on different levels of a certain sport, when you have a child and they go out for that sport, a lot of times you can't just be dad and sit on the sideline. I would prefer to be dad most of the time, but then it kind of grew on me to where when Joshua and Jordan, when they played Little League, whether it was basketball, football, track, anything, it's like, hey, man, you know something about work ethic. Dad, come on, help coach. So, you jump in and you kind of help. The great thing about now is I don't coach defensive backs.
Right.
So I'm always so tunnel vision looking at the D-line.
That's your baby right there. Yeah, that's your baby right there.
That's what I love. And so a lot of times I'm so focused on the D-line, I hear cheers out of the stands or I hear cheers from the guys on the sideline, and you'll look up and it's Jordan and made a play, And Dad, did you see that? Did you see that? Yeah, I saw it, son, but go back and do it again, right? So, but the thing I hold most dear and important to me is just watching him being an inspiration to his peers. The commitment and him making the announcement at Woodlawn in front of the school was his idea, and that was something that he wanted to do because it was very inspirational to all of his peers and to the kids at Woodlawn.
Yeah, that was really cool. As cool as it gets there. And speaking of cool, this team this year at Woodlawn, I guess you just have to say the stars align for this year to be a really special year. The problem is the district y'all play in the SEC West. If it's not for the NFL and the SEC West, the district y'all play in is probably the toughest after that.
That's right.
So this team, a lot of seniors. I mean, obviously the headliners are your son and Ricky, but really a lot of guys. I mean, Roy's committed to Louisiana Tech.
Yes, sir.
And we got another commit that just recently, I believe that was
Desiree
Delmore. Yep, right. He just committed. So, and these guys are all seniors. So this team with Coach Randall, which has been really the message with these guys, and as far as like taking really one game at a time, because with this district, you really have to take it one game at a time.
Correct. Well, the thing we love most about these guys, this class of 23 and these couple of classes behind them, they wouldn't have it any other way. A lot of these other schools and that's in our district, these kids on the team have come up playing in Louisiana Youth Football League. They've come up playing from basketball. They've come up playing from baseball, and they all know each other around town. So these young men on our team, they really stepped up. They've accepted the challenge, and they obviously wouldn't have it any other way. They wouldn't want it to be something easy, and they love the spirit of competition. And quite honestly, our practices are most competitive than anything. Mm-hmm. So you got a few egos flying around. Sometimes you get the button heads, and as coaches, we love to see that. We let it go for a split second, then we hop back in.
It gets out of hand, yeah.
Yep. But it's going to be a special year for these guys, for all of them, several other guys.
What are your thoughts on just last week? Now football season here.
Yes.
Jamboree is this week against Madison Prep. Coming off of scrimmage against Denham Springs. What are your thoughts coming off that scrimmage against Denham Springs?
So obviously our first time having competition, going against someone with a different colored jersey. Hats off to Denham Springs, man. Denham Springs really, we believe Denham Springs is going to compete for the district that they're in. Mm-hmm. They're really solid up front. We have a couple of spots where we are a little bit inexperienced. The good thing about it is we have quality depth all across the board, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And, your first time getting a chance to go against someone else, it's going to be some things that you have to straighten out. It's going to be some things we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and fix. But everything is looking extremely positive. And the most thing that we love about it is these guys, they're looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. When they're hungry to play and you have all those dogs in the stable like that, hey, man, a lot of times you just got to turn them loose, man, and point in the right direction. So we're looking forward to this year.
Yep, and just in case, this show's going to be, of course, Wednesday. So if you haven't heard, Thursday is going to be Madison Prep, and as I saw Madison Prep last week against Catholic, and they are fast.
Always
They got a lot of speed on that Madison Prep team, and actually you get to catch up with what Woodlawn's doing every week, because we're actually going to have an intern that goes there with Coach Randall every single week, and he's going to give you an update on the Panthers every single week, and you're going to want to keep up with it, because their schedule this year is insane, and they have a game. Talk about this real quick.
Yep.
A game on national television this year on ESPNU. So against Zachary, and I think it's going to be one of those games you have to arrive there at 9:00 in the morning, or you will not get a spot for that game. So the whole city of Baton Rouge is probably going to be in Zachary for that matchup.
Definitely, man. We looking forward to each game, but obviously that's a chance to put the city on the map. That's a chance to go against an extremely formidable opponent in Zachary. Zachary, man, they have everything going for them in their programs, their athletic programs over there. They've done a phenomenal job. Coach David Brewerton, a lot of recruits on that end as well, man, with Eli Holstein and crew. It was a pretty tight game last year that we had with them. We were looking forward to maybe getting to them again in the playoffs, and we didn't get there to see them again. Mm-hmm. So we pretty much have some unfinished business with them, but we know that they're going to be very, very prepared, and we're looking forward to having that on ESPN here locally.
Well, Roshaun, we have to talk about this. We can't end this segment without talking about it. If y'all thought y'all seen something in Joshua and Jordan, just wait until Lauren comes and gets her name up there.
That's my secret right there. A lot of people hadn't heard about this one.
And she is one of the up-and-coming best volleyball players in the state. And you see some highlights right here. Just for everybody to get to know a little bit, get her name out there a little bit more about Lauren and what her talent could potentially be at volleyball.
So Lauren, she's about 5'10", and a half. She's a sophomore. She goes to University Lab School on LSU's campus. She's been starting varsity at middle blocker since ninth grade. And Coach Benita Johnson has done a phenomenal job with the entire team over there. And she's having a blast. She's having fun. She, just like how Jordan came up under Joshua, well, Lauren came up in that household where she's actually just 16 months younger than Jordan. So she's been kind of like in his shadow, and she can't stand it. So Jordan gets a lot of the attention when they're both running track together as kids and they're doing things together. But then when she gets with her peers, you can see the difference between her and her peers because she's been kind of hanging with her brother. And it's crazy because they're actually best friends. They're very competitive in the household. But you know, a lot of time by she being the baby, you know, she kind of gets me to where I give her what she wants.
She wants to get the attention for sure.
Yeah, she definitely gets the attention. Definitely that. So we looking forward to her high school career with her and her teammates as well at U High.
Yeah, she's this is only going to be her sophomore year coming up.
Correct.
And I saw her already. It's like, Chase, check out my daughter right here. And I'm like, what grade is she in? It's like, she's only going to be a sophomore. I was like, wow.
Right. Very mature for her age. Very, very great student. Real pleasurable kid. She's really starting to get some interest. And she's been playing volleyball since she's been 10 years old. She's also ran track coming up as a kid. So that same athletic gene is there too. So we know it's going to be something special for years to come.
Roshaun, we're going to wrap it up with a very fun, interesting debate here. So here is the Matthews family, right? So obviously you played defensive line, linebacker, and as far as Jordan, he plays in the secondary, defensive back. Josh plays wide receiver, and it's just a very athletic family.
Okay.
Who do you think is the most competitive in this family?
Well, if we're going to go with not outside of sports, it'll probably be Mom.
Okay.
It would be Mom. Nicole would be probably the most athletic. She is the biggest Saints fan of all time. She knows all the players, and the Saints is like number one in our household. Okay,
that's good
for the NFL. Now I'd say athletically wise, I would say it's probably a toss up between Jordan and Lauren.
I was thinking you would say that too.
Because they're so close
together.
Age.
Yeah.
Right. Where Josh is just like, look, that's my little brother and sister, whatever. And he'll just kind of, just do whatever.
I can totally picture that now. I'm thinking about it.
Definitely.
Now, what position you think you have a little bit of a football team right here. I mean, all y'all play different positions. What position do you think Lauren will play, and what position do you think Nicole will play?
Oh, man. Most definitely Nicole's favorite position is quarterback.
Okay.
You know, the quarterbacks get all the glory.
Well, she's the boss, so she's the boss. She has to be the quarterback.
So she has no problem with pointing people out, telling them what to do, obviously. And Lauren, she'd probably pick something that Jordan is doing just so she could show him up.
Okay.
So I said, okay, well, Jordan, you're a cornerback. Okay, I'll be the other cornerback or receive and go against you. And Josh would just be something like, look, let me do my thing over here, and and I'll just be great at what I do. So me, I'll just be a coach. I just stand on the side and just kind of say, y'all just have at it.
Well, Roshaun, it's been a pleasure. It's definitely been a minute to have you on. But once again, I really appreciate coming over here and doing this little show with me here today. This is only the third show, and I was talking to Roshaun. I was like, yeah, you have to be one of my first guests when I get the show together.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
It's been a pleasure, Roshaun, as always.
Thank you very much, Jason.
And trust me, we're going to keep up with the Matthews family long after the show is done here today.
Appreciate that.
Not a problem, Roshaun. When we come back, we get to meet Jordan Matthews, defensive back, committed to the Tennessee Volunteers. Let's see what he has to say about his commitment coming right after his commercial break.
love it when I turn up the bass.
Welcome back to the Chase with Jace. I'm your host, of course, Jace Lejeune, here with Roshaun Matthews, defensive back, star DB for the Woodlawn Panthers. Just announced his commitment to the Tennessee Vols. Jordan, always a pleasure, my man.
Thank you, Jace, for having me.
Not a problem, Jordan.
Yes,
Not a problem. So, a little bit of a hectic week, huh?
Yeah.
This is a bit of an understatement, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just really dive deep into it. So that morning, first of all, did you get any sleep from the night before?
Barely.
Barely?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
be too. Just I wouldn't be able to sleep with that decision. So really, how close was it? At what point you're like, okay, that's the team I'm picking?
I would say when I posted my top 3,
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, Tennessee, and Texas, I knew from that point that Tennessee was the school, and they've fit my. I had top 3 factors going into my recruitment. I had decided on that I was gonna pick my school, and I was gonna stay true to the whole time. And the 3 factors were, the first was playing early as a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
if it was starting or just getting major playing time.
Sure.
Development for the NFL. Can the DB coach develop me, teach me skills that I haven't been taught, develop my skills and develop my, to be a man on and off the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then the branding and the networking around the school.
Yeah.
Just like all 3 schools kind of had that. And, for life after football and business entrepreneurship, which I'll be majoring in.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah.
So this is going to be awesome for you with NIL and all these
Yeah.
opportunities because of what you're going into. So you actually get to see really the business side of it and how to market yourself and how to promote yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I did show this when Ricky committed. I showed this when Colin committed. I showed when all these guys, all your boys committed. But we're going to show your commitment just in case you missed it.
Gotcha.
We did it live on Facebook.
Okay.
But right here, I'll show it right here. This is the exact moment that Jordan made his commitment to the Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville.
At the age of 10 was when he was like the second fastest 10-year-old in the nation with USAT up. My wife and I, we knew, oh yeah, it's gonna be something real special for years to come. Number one, my competitive nature and effort that I put on the field, they're gonna get 100% out of me every time. I feel like that separates me from the pack. First, I would like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He has blessed me with talents and gifts like no other. Nicole Matthews, you are my queen. You made an impact on my life more than you will ever know, and I appreciate you for that. I love you, Mom. To my dad, who's my coach, mentor, and my hero. Thanks for sacrifices that were made and countless hours of time you invested in me to ensure that I maximize my potential. To my siblings, Josh and Lauren, thank y'all for being my biggest supporters on this journey. Following behind one and leading the other has shaped me to be the best brother I could be. I'd like to thank my grandparents for instilling the love of God in me and keeping me humble. Rest in peace, Papa Jacob. You passed the dream down to my dad, who in turn passed it to Josh and myself. I'd like to thank the entire Woodlawn High football staff for preparing me for success on the next level, both on and off the field. And to my brothers, nothing is like going to war with y'all at Panther Stadium. Let's make this last run memorable. Also, special thanks to my trainers and position coaches for the tools y'all have taught me and development over the past years. And with that being said, the moment we've all been waiting for, I will be taking my academic and athletic talents to the University of Tennessee. Go Vols!
You don't know what it took. Just come over and work.
All right, we are back with the Chase with Jace, and you got to see it yourself. Roshaun Matthews committing to Tennessee. Just that day was very special. I know you couldn't wait for that moment, that afternoon, in front of the whole student body, the whole school, and talking with your dad. He told me it was your idea to do it in front of the school. What made you have that decision? Like, okay, how about this? I want to do it in front of my entire peers. And that's really nerve-wracking to do. You can be like the most experienced guy talking, not have any stage fright or anything, but that is nerve-wracking to make that type of decision, not in front of like national media, but you're making it in front of everybody that you know in the school. So just how nervous were you? When
I
you
was
made
a little nervous, but I've had some speaking, events that I've have done in the past, so I was a little used to it, and then. But doing it in front of school, that's the biggest crowd I ever spoke in front of. But yeah, I wanted to do that because I know I'm an inspiration in my school to a lot of kids, and me being a senior, a leader on the team, getting highly recruited, it just brought a lot of attention to the school, and Woodlawn helped me grow as a man on and off the field. And I just feel like I had to, do that in front of my school, and pay that back to them. And then me being a role model, I just felt like if I could do it, other kids could do it in the school. So, yeah, that's why I did it.
Yeah, that is very cool. Just giving back to community, giving back to those guys, and just doing it from your teammates because they're with you through the grind every single day. So being with those guys. And what was just the message when you approached your teammates for the first time? I'm sure they were hyped for you. Just what was like just going to your teammates and celebrating that with them?
Man, it was great. Like, those are my brothers. Like, and we've been together for 4 years. Like, some of them even longer than that, since Louisiana youth football. And it's just been a real, it was a long ride, but it was all worth it. I have no regrets. I wouldn't change any of it. And I'm ready to get this senior season kicked off.
Yeah.
Let's go get this ring last year. Of course, we didn't get it, past few years, but I think we had the team and the leadership to do it now. So, yeah.
We're definitely going to go right into it this year. And I know your dad was saying everybody wants to play in the Dome no matter what. And I know that y'all, absolutely, that is the goal, is to compete in the state championship at the highest level. That's 5A. So this year, like I mentioned to your dad, if it's not for the NFL and the SEC West, I mean, it's this district that y'all in is right behind that. Yeah. Just with the competition, because not only you're going against just great programs like Catholic, Zachary, those teams won state championships, but everybody has like a marquee guy. Like Liberty has Caleb Jackson, and then we talked about all the quarterbacks. And for you, you're going to have a lot of fun this year because you get to play against Eli. You get to play against Daniel Beal, who's at Catholic. You get to play against Zay. So playing against those quarterbacks, how does that really help you? It's like get me really physically and mentally into it, knowing that you're going to play great quarterbacks when you go in the SEC.
And I love it. I love competition. Kind of like my dad was saying, I've been like a competitor since I was real young, and it's been carrying through my life all this time. And I just feel like it's probably going to be one of my most competitive years because I wouldn't say pressure. Sure. I like the pressure, but I would just say like all the eyes are on me, and I feel like I shine bright, when the lights are on me. So
that's right.
I feel like that will prepare me for the next level, and it's gonna be a great season.
Yeah, and those guys you grew up with, you talk about just playing at a young age with those guys, but it's cool because all these guys, we're talking during the video, but all these guys are committing around the same time with Shelton and, of course, your teammate Ricky and, Kyle, and on and on, but you grew up with all these guys. You had conversations like after you played backyard football saying, you want to be cool if we played against each other or we played with each other when we go to the SEC, and guess what? That dream is about to become reality in the next couple of years.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. We've been dreaming about it for a long time now. Being all the guys, even on other teams like Zay on Scholarville. I played with him youth football with the SBR Rams,
Yep.
South Bend Ridge Rams, and we, we had a lot of laughs. You know, made a lot of memories, and we won a championship when we was together. So, yeah, I got bonds with all those guys, and I just feel like us playing with and against each other will eventually made each other better, and you know, have memories from years to come.
Any other guys on the SBR team that's playing now and getting a lot of attention right now besides you and Zay?
Emory Jones.
Oh, Emory? Okay.
He played for us. Clayton Adams. I received at Woodlawn.
Yep.
Jalen Henry, he signed with McNeese a year ago. He's at McNeese right now.
Okay.
Who else? Marquise. I forgot. Baptiste, he plays for Madison Prep.
That's right.
About to play him Thursday.
That's right.
And a couple other guys.
Wow, that's a lot of team there.
Yeah, some firepower on that team. So yeah.
That is definitely a loaded team, and we're gonna have fun just the rest of the couple of segments here before you go. But y'all must have a friendly like just debate or discussion right now, because I know you and Ricky's calendars are both going towards LSU and Tennessee when they play this year. Do y'all have a side bet or any kind of bet between y'all two right now? Like friendly conversation. You know, it's like, yeah, my team's gonna get your team.
We have been talking about it because me and Ricky, we're the most competitive guys on the team, and like I feel like Tennessee gonna pull it out me. But yeah, Ricky, we're both competitive, and that's the two greatest things about us. And then we're great leaders on the team, and then we have a couple other leaders on the team. I just feel like that in turn is gonna make us even better down the line during the season when everything gets tough. You know, we're gonna be the two guys that, you know, will put our team up and just, you know, lead.
Yeah, I mean that has to be some fun practices going against Ricky, going against a guy that you'll probably play in 3 or 4 years, and he can use a lot of stuff. If y'all play against each other, then okay, I remember Jordan or I remember Ricky. I know exactly what he wants to do, and y'all, that scenario might actually come in the SEC game next couple of years.
Exactly.
And they'll go against each other.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have some fun right here. I'm actually gonna play some of Jordan's highlights, and he gets to kind of do like maybe a little play-by-play or a little breakdown on these plays right here. So let's get it started. So this is actually Destrehan right here.
Yeah, Destrehan. That was a very eventful game. You know, with them being a great team throughout their season, and with us being a great team throughout our season, it was a great matchup. It came down to the line, but you know, they pulled it out. I think we should have pulled it out. Yeah. It came down to the last play, but yeah, it was a great game.
And another scenario, Zachary against
Charles Robinson.
Yep, Charles Robinson. Yep, he's in Division I playing right now. He's with UL. Yep, that's right. Yep. And here's Catholic High right here. So
yeah, number 3. I think that was Trey Benson.
Yeah, Trey's a really good football player.
Yeah. Oh, blocked a couple.
You have a tendency to do this. Like a lot of these highlights I've seen, I guess it's that track get off that really helps you.
Track definitely plays a big part in my game, and it's definitely helping me right here on these block field goals. Yeah, I think this is a tackle right here. Yeah, that was Negative Central. That was game 1 in the playoffs. So
now they got some big guys.
They did have some guys that signed on some places. Dutchtown. That was Dylan Sampson. He's at Tennessee.
Yep, Tennessee. How about never forget about Dylan? Yep. So y'all actually gonna be teammates coming up.
Yeah, and he ran track meet this year. He competed against track meet. We've been buddies since because we came up with summer track together.
Okay.
So yeah, we're definitely gonna be great teammates.
Man, he was good for Dutchtown. Here's Zion.
Oh yeah, that's Zion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet once Zion threw that, I was like, oh, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, it's
Now this is U High, and I believe y'all play U High this year.
First game of the season.
Yeah, that's the defending state champion there.
Exactly. We lost to them last year, but I think we'll get them back this year.
Yeah.
That's another.
That's a poor kicker there. You're gonna try to outrun Jordan.
I don't know about that one.
So this is against Western Row. What was that like? Because it's really like a college atmosphere playing at Western Row.
That was a crazy atmosphere. We didn't play our best, but we learned from it, and in turn, we bounced back and finished the season off strong.
Yep, and this is Zachary again. And this is actually going to be a taste of what you'll see in a couple years because Alabama always plays Tennessee every year.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be playing against Eli a lot in the next level.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about our district. There's so much competition, and everybody's going to the next level and everything. And it's gonna be cool to link up with them again and play them. That's Zachary again.
Yeah, that's going to be a preview of the nationally televised game this year. That is going to be insane. I know you're heading on in for that one. That you have to probably get yourself a seat by 9 o'clock that morning.
Definitely. Be there early.
Yeah, be there early. Because I actually do a lot of announcing for Episcopal, so I'm actually looking at my schedule right now. If they have an off week, I know what game I'm heading that week.
At Woodlawn, yeah.
At Woodlawn.
On a Thursday, so it's going to be prime time.
Yep. On ESPNU.
Yeah.
This is Natchitoches Central again in the playoffs.
Yeah, good coverage on that play. So,
and those are your highlights.
Yes, sir.
Jordan Matthews. And also Jordan. Now, I saw the highlights of this past week in the scrimmage. And I know you laid a pretty good hit on the sidelines, and now you're going to get the flag here and now and then. But to me, from the way I saw it, that was a clean hit from what I saw it. Just what were your thoughts on that play, and just like make your case why that was a clean hit on that play?
Well, yeah, I think it was a clean hit, and they ultimately called it off after they picked up the flag.
Okay,
but
cool.
I feel like I'm a pivotal guy for my team, and when I make those type of big plays, when big time games later down the road, it picks up our energy so much, and that again with that leadership thing and that competitiveness. Once I make a big play, everybody's gonna want to make a big play, and once Ricky throws a touchdown, everybody gets hyped and everything. So it's just like energy definitely feeds off those leaders, and I feel like that's gonna definitely take us. A long way down the road.
And I know you like to hit. I mean, you're not only good in coverage, but you're not afraid to hit. Now, if it were up to you, like a play that you want to make to really excite your team, really excite yourself even more, would you rather really the bone-crushing hit causes a fumble, the player's helmet comes off, the sideline goes crazy, or would you rather have that pick six, maybe like they're driving the goal line inside the 5 and you have the interception, you run for a touchdown? Is there any preference for you?
Definitely a pick six.
Pick six.
I love the bone crushing hits, but pick six has been. I haven't got it in high school yet, but it's definitely a thing that I'll be doing this year. Definitely, at the goal line, me taking it all the way back, using that track speed, showing off that track speed, throwing the deuces up,
Yeah,
that's definitely one of my biggest goals.
Yeah, and just talk about track a little bit because you're one of the top guys in the nation when it comes to track. So is that something that you can see maybe do? Because there's a lot of two-sport athletes out there in college. Yeah. Do you see yourself as like playing football at track and I'm playing football at Tennessee or also running track too? Did you ever thought that be a possibility at Tennessee?
I definitely did think about that. When running track from such a young age, 8 years old, starting it and falling in love with it the first year, it was just like I felt like I had some more in the tank from this past year. We did good, me and the team, but I just feel like at Tennessee, them being SEC, them being also a lead in track, I feel like that could be definitely a possibility. With me shining on both stages, is gonna definitely be that's definitely a dream.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just awesome that you really see you get this opportunity, and now you get to commit. You made your decision. It seems like it's a big gorilla that just comes off your back. Once you make that commitment, it's like, okay, I can focus on my senior season. I can focus being a senior because there's a lot of things that go into it with recruiting and everything. I know it can be exciting, but at the same time, I'm sure it can wear down on you a lot. Just with coaches constantly talking to you and just going to a bunch of visits. There's a lot of great things about recruiting, but I'm sure you reached a point that like, okay, I'm ready to make my announcement and just really focus on football. Yeah,
that was definitely one of the goals when I first started getting recruited. My mom and dad, we sat down after my first couple offers, and we were like, let's make this decision before my senior year. Mm-hmm. So it can be a little less stressful on me. You know, I had my decision made. I start repping my school. You know, everywhere, and learning the playbook for college, and you know, ultimately getting ready for that next level, because I will be going to early enrollee in January. So,
awesome, man.
Yeah, so I'll get a little head start, and you know, that'll definitely prepare me for playing early.
Yeah, and that's usually the guys that play early on or the guys that enroll early.
Exactly.
So it gives you a head start on the rest of the competition. Jordan, just wrapping up, I'm going to ask you kind of the same question as you, because I know you're close to Lauren, and I know that growing up and really playing against Josh really helped you with your game, because I know Josh has always been bigger. He's a big brother.
Right.
So just how does that competition with Lauren and with Josh really help you as just an athlete?
Man, we're all pretty competitive. You know, Josh is a little quiet.
Yeah.
But he definitely has his own competitive mindset. You know, Lauren does too. With her being real close to me, we compete in everything in the house. You know, all that. But you know,
that family game night's intense.
Yeah. You know, but all of us coming up in that same household and seeing each other be successful, and you know, seeing each other succeed and be you know, accomplish all our goals is definitely a sight to see. And you know, one will you know, McNeese, he'll have 2 touchdowns, so many yards. You know, won't be Friday night get a pick.
Yeah.
You know, and then Thursday night Lauren will have a ball out. You know, against a team. So it's just really nice having those role models really for me too. You know, in the household, and you know, to look up to. And yep.
Yeah, well, Thursday through the weekend, those weekends are going to be busy for the Matthews family. I guarantee it.
Definitely.
Jordan, last question, just this year, just for Woodlawn, just what is your message to your classmates? I mean, you got a chance to really, you know, address them with your commitment, and just what's your message to your classmates, to your football team, to come and really, well, I guess for the classmates to come and support y'all, and just for the rest of the guys, because I know that the goals, y'all have the ability, y'all have the talent, y'all have what it takes to get there in the Superdome come December.
Yeah, well, my message is, you know, never give up on your dreams. Anybody could, you know, do what I did, even better. All I did was work hard, put my head down, and you know, just stay true to my goals. And but for my Panthers out there, you know, we're definitely going for that ring. And you know, man, it's gonna be a movie. And you know, just be looking out for those Woodlawn Panthers every Friday night.
Well, the sky is the limit. I guarantee you that. Well, Jordan, it's always been a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on. Check out Jordan. You're going to see him make a lot of big plays this year, interceptions, hard hits. I already saw one already last week in the scrimmage, but there's going to be plenty more coming up for him and the Panthers this year. Make sure to check us out every week. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Share. You can also watch it on Facebook every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We'll talk about Louisiana high school football. I know he doesn't want me to talk about too much, but the LSU Tigers. I know we got to talk about the LSU Tigers, covering them. Me and your Coach Marcus Randall, have a weekly segment talking about his Tigers. So make sure to share it with your friends, your family. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, you can watch us on Facebook. Follow us on Gridiron Football. This is basically going to be pretty much about the show, Jordan. So appreciate you coming on, and we're going to have an intern every week that's going to follow Coach Randall and the Panthers. So you'll get a Coach's Corner every week. So you'll get an update on how the Panthers are doing every single week. So we kind of like our own little personal beat writer for y'all that's going to be covering y'all every week. So we have a Gridiron Football Bowl game coming up, and I know that you and Ricky and Sheldon, there's a couple of these guys that when they're going to be playing this game. So at the end of the month. But Jordan, appreciate you. Appreciate Roshaun. Appreciate Marcus for coming on the show as well. Well, on the Chase with Jace, I always end it with this question. Said, Jordan right here, he's chasing a state championship. He's chasing to be a great player at Tennessee. Roshaun, well, he's just chasing, seeing all his kids come come up and grow up and go with the ranks and see what they do with their careers. Marcus, he's chasing a championship this year, but I'm going to ask y'all, what do y'all chase? What are y'all chasing? Good night, everybody.
Go Vols.